We have here our only witness and our number one suspect. Please state your name. My name is Matthew Richards. It says here, Matthew, you are the only one alive after 3 people were found dead and 1 is still missing. Listen, like I said, me and my friends were out hiking and we were attacked. Attacked by what exactly? We were attacked by, well, it sounds crazy, but a large dog. A large dog? So a wolf? Something like that, but much larger and mangy. Well, Matthew, I'd really like to believe you. I've hunted this area for 15 years myself, and I've never seen a wolf or a large dog. Better yet, none of my hunting buddies have neither. We were on the Indian reservation. My friend Caleb's family lives there. I doubt outsiders are allowed to hunt on the reservations. In that, you would be right. But what you're trying to say is exclusive to the reservation. There's large wolves. No, I'm not saying that. But this thing, well, it sounds really crazy. But it's more like a werewolf. 3 people are dead, and you find it funny to start cracking jokes, making up fairy tales? Damn it, I saw what I saw. Alright. Matt, you better start making sense real quick, or I'll just have to turn you over to the natives. I doubt they'll be as civil with one of their own dead and another missing. I already told you what I know. No, I want the full story right now. Alright. I'll tell you everything that happened that day.
It all started yesterday when I met my friend Jesse for lunch at the McDonald's on Chester Street. We talked and ate, and he invited me to hang out with this guy Caleb later in the afternoon. They had planned on going hiking up in the mountains of the reservation. Said there was this awesome spot they always go. Me, not being busy and wanting to stay out of the house, I said yes. After we met Caleb there, he had brought his friend Connor. We all talked for a bit and then started making our way up the trail, which probably took at least an hour to hike to the top. As we did though, it was calm and quiet the whole time. We had made it halfway to the top, and Caleb had mentioned his little brother was supposed to meet us up there, but he wasn't anywhere around. So we all decided to keep hiking up the mountain, thinking maybe he went to the top already. As we were walking up, Jesse said that he kept hearing what sounded like his mom in the distance. In the same moment, I had the intense feeling as if something was watching me from the distance. Caleb had also said that if anything starts to chase us, not to run. He looked very worried, and his whole demeanor changed. He was nervously looking around. At first, I thought maybe he was worried of a bear and the fact his little brother was still nowhere to be seen. The air was still, and the forest was completely quiet. The further we went up the mountain, the more I felt uneasy. I could tell that everyone felt the same, but we had to get to Caleb's brother. Not 5 minutes up the trail, we heard a blood-curdling scream that echoed around us. Caleb yelled, "That's my brother," and started to run up the trail, and we all quickly followed. When we had gotten to the top, there was nothing and nobody. Just a weird-looking altar thing with what looked like a dead animal on it. Caleb said this isn't good, and started to act even more nervous. Connor yelled, "What do you mean? What happened?" But Caleb was still out of it. Jesse had pulled me to the side and said, "Bro, something weird is happening." He asked if I'd felt like we were being watched the whole way up. I knew that something was out there, but at the time we had no idea how much danger we were really in. I said to Caleb then, "What should we do? Go get help or something?" He quickly said no, and that we won't get off the mountain alive if we leave now. I said, "What the hell do you mean?" He then asked if we had ever heard of a Wendigo. He said that it's completely taboo for him to even speak of that to an outsider and even speak of such a creature. He explained that these creatures were possessed by dark magic, and certain rituals can be done to create one. We all thought he was completely crazy. That was until he described what it looks like in perfect detail. Not a second after, he explained what it was. Jesse said he was hearing his mom yell for him. Caleb said it's not real, and that they can mimic real voices. Jesse was not believing him though, and he said his mom is screaming for him. She was in danger. I then yelled at him and said, "Jesse, I don't hear anything." He was on the verge of tears, saying, "What?" That's when he heard something that must have convinced him it was real, and he took off down the hill into the woods. I started to follow him, and Caleb grabbed me and said, "If you go, you'll die." I didn't hear anything of Jesse after that. The forest was silent. Night was starting to approach us, so it was getting really dark. We waited up there for 15 minutes for any sign of Jesse. That's when we heard him yell out, "Come on guys, I found James." I then asked, "Who's James?" Caleb very slowly said, "My little brother." I said, "That's good, right? I mean, we all heard him." Caleb then said, still slowly and quiet, "I never said my little brother's name." He also said Jesse had never met his brother, and Caleb never told him his name. After he said that, we heard Jesse call out again from the distance, "Guys, come on, he hurt his leg. I need your help." When he said that, I could tell something was off. His voice sounded distorted, like something was mimicking him. I looked at Caleb and Connor, and they started to make their way backwards, the opposite way we came up the mountain. I followed, and Caleb just told me, "Don't trust anything you don't see." At this point, it was pitch black. The clouds had rolled in, and the rain started. You could hear the lightning from our left, then our right. Then to my left, I heard a tree fall. That's when Connor, to my right, vanished. All that was left was his black beanie and flashlight. He wasn't 5 feet from me, and Caleb was in shock because I think he saw what took Connor. Then up close, we heard a loud roar. Caleb said to me, "Don't panic. That means it's not close to us." I didn't know what he meant by that, but in the next moment, we started making our way slowly down the mountain. Apparently, there's this old man that lives in a cabin a mile down. Caleb's dad knows him very well. Caleb told me if we see it, to just try and survive. This whole time, the thing had been playing games with us, toying with our emotions, making us so scared we couldn't think straight. As we were walking to my right, I heard a little girl say hello. Then to my left, I heard the same voice say, "Where are you going?" I just tried to ignore it, but it was so real. I was shaking. Then the stench. I will never forget the smell of that thing. It stood in the darkness at all times, watching us, trying to get us to the brink of insanity through its tricks. I then saw it. A large, rotten, wolf-like creature that let off a roar that shook the very ground. I wanted to look at Caleb, but I couldn't. I couldn't look away. It was so terrifying, and I could feel that it wanted to hurt me. But not just hurt, but torture. Caleb then grabbed my shirt and started walking backwards very slowly. It was still raining, and up where we were, it was so muddy and slippery, we slipped. And I started to go quickly down the hill, and all I could remember was Caleb's voice yelling, "Matthew." Everything went dark. And that's when I woke up in the police car. And that's all I remember.
The story does match up with Caleb's. Alright, Matthew, so you're telling me you don't remember making it to that old man's cabin you mentioned? What? No, all I remember was what I told you. Well, when my boys got a call from that Mr. Jackson and showed up, he was dead on the floor, while you were in the next room, unconscious. Hey, we found a body. Is it him? Jesus Christ. Chris, call this in. He's got goddamn symbols carved in him. gotta take this. Don't you go nowhere.